Hi, I'm CJ Almberg with Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. We've got a really special trailer to show you. This is a custom build Cimarron with Outlaw Conversions. We're going to walk you through this thing. This thing has a ton of options on it. We want to show you everything, so bear with us. I don't want to miss anything. This process actually started a couple of years ago with a customer, but this just goes to show you what we can build with a Cimarron and Outlaw when we combine those two. We talk about how these guys are fingerprints, and there's no doubt about it. This is a really cool custom toy hauler that we have sitting behind me here. This is a 2025 Cimarron Freedom toy hauler living quarters with Outlaw conversion. Before we start walking you through this beast, let's go ahead and take a look at the drawing. I want to show you some specs. There's a lot on this guy. So on the floor, this trailer is 37 foot on the floor. It has a 9-foot nose, so nose to tail, we're 46 feet. We are 8'4" wide on this one, so a little bit wider than our standard kind of 8 wide, living quarters that you see in the horse trailer world. This one is 8'4" tall, so it's really tall, and it has the integrated roof, so it'll kind of change those ceiling heights a little bit, and we'll talk about that. On the living quarter side, this is a double slide out, 31-foot straight wall Outlaw conversion. So what's so cool about this is you get to go in and you get to completely customize this trailer. Again, we can set things where you want them. We can build your garage how you want them. You get to pick out the colors. It's a great process to walk through. So let's start going through this trailer and I'll show you what these customers did. This trailer turned out incredible. We'll just start right here at the nose of this guy. Okay, up top we got a couple button marker lights up there. That became standard over the last couple years. We were always doing it on our bigger custom trailers like this. It dresses the front of the trailer up. As you can see, the nose on this guy, it's gonna have that polished sheeting on it. This one here is gonna be with a B&W coupler. This is where, on these type of trailers, this coupler really comes into play. Our smaller trailers, not so much, but they put the same coupler on all their trailers. If you notice this low profile handle, this is the third version that B&W's come up with. A lot of feedback from Cimarron, from us, from customers. What this allows us to have is this one lower hole drilled in there. So depending on what they're towing it with, we could slide this guy up a little bit more, setting it up. We want this trailer to run level. We want it to have bed clearance. And that gives us a lot of flexibility by actually having this type of setup as far as a coupler goes. It allows us to slide it up into that stem. This trailer came in at 21,280 pounds of dry weight. Okay, they're going to be towing it with a Ram 5500 in this type of setup, so you always have to take a look at your tow vehicle and just make sure you're adequate from that standpoint. Tongue weight on this guy actually came in at 24%. It was about 5,100 pounds. I believe it was 5,120. So it was right at about 24%. Now typically this is a triple axle. We see tongue weights come in about 27-28% depending on where axle placement actually is. That can vary a little bit based on a lot of factors, but in this instance, not a lot of tongue weight on this guy here. It's a big trailer, and we'll show you why when we get into the trailer itself and show you some storage, but we'll just keep working. As you can see, underneath the gooseneck right here, we have this enclosed door. It dresses this trailer up. I mean, this is a good looking trailer. Let's not have to look at all the bottles and spare and all that stuff. So it keeps everything nice and clean. I think it adds some aerodynamics as well. Typically the way that these are built, it almost creates a little parachute behind the truck. So in this instance, it's going to be a little bit more aerodynamic and get that, that wind away from it when we're actually dragging this trailer. All right, so we got a lot going on. This is dual hydraulic jacks, electric over hydraulic, the equalizer system. It does have a manual override, so you could manually pump this on or off. Above as we're looking at it, that left-hand leg, there's going to be our pump. This has electric over hydraulic disc brakes. That's our pump for that. Full spare tire. And then below that is going to be our hydraulics for our slide outs. Yes, slide outs. 2 slide outs on this trailer. You're going to get your aluminum battery box. That's part of your hydraulic jack system. And we also want to house some batteries, right? So we got them here. We got 4 house batteries in here. as you can see, everything back there that Cimarron and Outlaw, especially when they get it to this point and start working on the actual living quarters conversion part of it, if you start paying attention to the details, you can start looking and you can see that they have everything specifically noted on where it goes to. That really helps where if you're at a service center that, hey, they work on RVs, they don't really work on these trailers, or you know, somebody just needs to look for a certain wire. Well, everything is color coded, everything has a specifically labeled on where it goes to. So it just helps from that timing of turning and figuring out what, if we have an issue, what's going on, what we need to replace, what we're looking for. So everything's really well labeled. They do a great job on setting that up. You're also gonna get, it's kind of hard to see, but it's tucked right up here. It's a RedArc charger. That became standard on Cimarrons when we had a hydraulic jack and a battery type setup about a year ago. And what that does is, our truck would always work as a trickle charger to these batteries, but it'd be very slow going. Do we ever really get, you know, optimized, you know, level as far as charge on it? Probably not. You know, knock on wood, we have, since Cimarron has made that a standard option, we have not had near as many calls on just power issues. And a lot of that actually really might not even have anything to do with the trailer. It could have to do with the truck. You know, the charge wire on there, did we blow a fuse, you know, what's going on? But that RedArc charger does multiple things. It works, in my opinion, as a supercharger. You know, it's gonna pump the adequate amount of power that we need to these batteries from the tow vehicle itself. The other thing is, when we plug it in, it's gonna tell us if we have that charge wire, if we have power coming from the truck itself. So it's a great indicator right away of, hey, do we have power from the truck, or do we have something going on? The other thing is, it's gonna make sure that we don't get that feedback back to the truck and then we're tripping those fuses, those type of scenarios. But again, it's fantastic. It's got different profiles as well. You know, you can set it up with lithium batteries, a solar, you can do all of that. But again, it tells us where we're at in the staging process, and also it tells us if we have power. And again, what we want is, we want these expensive batteries to have a lot of life and a lot of longevity to them, so we need to keep them charged up, and that's what that RedArc charger does. There's gonna be more about that a little bit later. Underneath is gonna be storage for two 30-pound LP tanks. There's no reason to put 20. We really like to upgrade all of our inventory from a 20 to a 30, just so we don't necessarily have to continually change bottles. I mean, obviously we have more capacity. One thing that Cimarron's done, we've talked to them about this, is this lower part used to be a lot taller. Well, it was kind of hard getting those bottles in and out. So we built a lower profile, you know, just as far as access on the bottom, so it's easier to get these tanks in and out of the trailer itself. Over to the right of that, this trailer is equipped with air ride. We are going to talk more about that as well. But this is our self-contained compressor. So you don't necessarily have to have air from the truck, anything like that. It's right here. It's really simple to use. It's on off, it's lower raise, and then you've got a drain that we want to clear those lines, because air creates condensation. We don't want that to freeze, crack, do damage to a line, you know, have an air leak, anything like that. So each time you can turn it on, put it in the raised position, and go. When you stop, park it, turn it off, put it in lower position, clear that line. We have some really condensed versions of how to operate and how to shut it down properly that we can send to you. But this system here, again, we'll talk more about it. You know, these bigger trailers, even the transporter that came up, you know, when he pulled it up, he said, man, that trailer pulled really, really well. Triple axle air rides will do that. Underneath here, we put a 16-inch awning light. That way we've got some light coverage here, because obviously, you know, potential our cargo light on our pickups blocked by the nose of the trailer. Let's get some light. Maybe we're having to swap tanks, maybe you're just firing stuff up. It's nice to have some light. That's a really simple option that we like to put on ours. Right here is going to be our storage for our hoses for our gray and black tanks when we go to dump. So it's right there. The other thing about this enclosed front end is it's got a floor to it. So like, you know, buying you a box of like latex gloves or something like that, if you're doing this, easily leave that in there, dump what you need to, put your hose back, throw away your gloves, but there is some storage underneath there as well. All right, this is a 9-foot nose because we have the enclosure. Their standard is 8.2, but because of that enclosure and what we have going on down there, we need to extend it a little bit more. It allows us, especially if you're running like long box trucks, something with a tailgate, you can still drop it and still work back behind there. There's still room between the front end of that trailer and then the back of that tailgate to actually get through there. There's some manufacturers that they've got a shorter nose and they enclose them and they don't change them. So you have to really watch when you're backing underneath them with like long boxes with tailgates. You have to kind of be square. If you're off a little bit, you'll get into that, but not on these. It gives us a little bit of length, which also results in more storage. So you see this access door on this side. We'll show you on the other side when we get to the other side of the trailer, but up there in the nose, it's all storage. So let's start walking you through this Outlaw conversion. Okay, first thing you're gonna notice is probably this armless awning. This is a 16-foot armless awning. It's got a track light of LEDs out here, and then you have a ton of LEDs underneath as well. As far as these, you know, kind of porch lights, there's also courtesy lights down low for you. So this is a great place to sit out here. The armless is fantastic because you don't have to really work around them. It's power too. So it's push a button out, push a button, and back in they go. So you, again, have these lower courtesy lights. A couple other things you have out here is we have an LP hookup right down here for a barbecue. So they can take a smaller, you know, portable barbecue. If they want to sit out here, they can plug right in, access their LP from right here outside of the LQ itself. You're also going to have power out here. So we got some outlets here, so if we needed to plug something in, just charge a phone, sit here with the laptop, you know, anything along those lines, you can do that. You have some exterior speakers as well, so a little bit of entertainment out here. And again, there's those lights that I was telling you about. There's two 8-inch lights. We did one underneath and one just outside. That way you have a lot of light coverage, but those courtesy lights really help as well. All right, let's go check out this LQ, because again, it's big and it is impressive. Like I mentioned, 31 foot of living space. That's from that gooseneck drop wall to the back that I'll show you before we get to the smaller garage on this guy. But as you can see, how cool is this? Not only do we have the height on the trailer, when we get in here, that's where it really comes into play. This is gonna feel a lot, you know, bigger and more open. You know, when you get into those, you know, shorter trailers, based on what we've got going on with that integrated pod and how that drops the ceiling height when we get to the back of the trailer. I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. There's storage up top, but if you went with a shorter box and it drops it even more back here, everything's going to feel a little bit smaller and tighter. But in here, you don't have that. I mean, it is big, it is open, and it feels great. So let's take a look at the front here. Because normally this would be access up to that gooseneck, because that's where the bed would be. But this is a rear bedroom on this guy. So if you look at all this overhead cabinetry from Outlaw and all the storage we have on this guy. With Outlaw Conversions, you're going to get this custom hardwood engineered cabinetry. So when you're grabbing these doors and open them, it is not like a piece of paper in your hand. This stuff is extremely well built. You see it, it's even got the backing on it. So that's not like an open, you know, three-sided cabinet that they went ahead and secured against the wall. Nope. And what's fantastic about this is they will build all this cabinetry specifically for this trailer, okay? What they'll do is they'll bring it up, they'll have all this built, they'll bring the trailer in, and then they'll do a dry run on all these cabinets. What they want to do is they want to make sure everything fits where it's supposed to. You know, they have trim when you get to where the ceiling and the cabinets meet, but I guarantee you pop that guy off and there's hardly a seam at all. Where a lot of other manufacturers will take that trim and they'll cover up big gaps, those type of things, where they can eventually move and you have some issues with your cabinetry. So the fit and finish is incredible. So they'll do a dry run before they even stain these cabinets. They'll make sure everything fits where it needs to, make sure there's no adjustments that need to be made. They'll go make them, they'll bring it back, test it out, and then they'll install them once the stain's done further down in the process. But as you can see, we have storage literally all the way around this front portion. Again, that's the gooseneck right back up there. So we did a sofa sleeper right here on the drop wall. So this guy will drop down into a bed. They did an amazing job on picking colors here. Works really well. Did a couple ottomans so they can sit down, pop their feet up if they want, but you do have the capability to turn that into a bed. They did a white shiplap all the way around, valances with another accent material up there with the nail heads. Turned out great. Custom picked out their actual fixtures for their lights as well. That's again part of that process of doing a custom Outlaw with the Cimarron trailer. There's also storage on the end here, so we kind of have these little end tables, but there's storage. I'm going to show you a lot of storage. There's so much on this trailer, but there's one on each end here. They've also got outlets and USBs up here, so we can, you know, charge some phones if you need to. Again, you can sit here with a laptop, do what you need to. A couple spotlight reading lights as well underneath, but you have that on each side, and you've got windows that you can see out as well. So just giving you a little bit more access, and you can open that up for some fresh air if you want there. Slide out. This is a big 120-inch slide out right here. More storage. Okay, so we've got some storage here. There's this box right back here. I'll show you when we get to the outside, but because this refrigerator is in the slide out, there's going to be a propane bottle on the back side of that. But these are adjustable shelves, so we can adjust these in here. They even made this lower one by that box adjustable. That's impressive. But it gives you a lot of flexibility to build this and set it up how you want it as far as storage. 8.0 refrigerator and freezer, which is nice because you've got that, you know, separate freezer, bigger fridge. You know, they can travel, take a lot of food with them, a lot of cold items in there. Dinette. This guy here will drop down into a bed too, but this is considered a 4-person dinette. Single leg. We don't have to necessarily remove the table. You can just unpin it, push it down, lock it in, put the other pad on top of it, and then you've got a bed. So you have 2 sleeping areas right in this area if you want. And then there's overhead storage as well. So again, I told you there's a lot of storage. I'm going to keep showing you throughout this whole walkthrough on this trailer. Here's the accent material on the front facing of that slide out. Again, it ties in with the accent material on the dinette, the sofa, and also those ottomans. So again, really cool color package that they came up with. And again, everything ties in really well together. This is even storage up here. When it came in, we even asked the question, but we noticed the pull on it. We're like, it's got to be storage. So storage up there, I mean, it's a little bit smaller, but you know, I give Outlaw so much credit. They find every kind of little nook and cranny they can to allow you to put items in there. This one is not lacking of storage. Sometimes when you get into some trailers, they're a little bit smaller. Slide outs, you know, especially these big hydraulic slide outs, have a bigger footprint for just the bracing that we need for them. So you might lose a little bit, but in these instances here, like in this trailer, there is no lack of storage on this guy. They even did shiplap underneath the ceiling of that slide out. So again, it ties in really well with that accent wall that we saw in the gooseneck drop wall. And then right here on this wall as well, it ties in there. So they did a great job on setting this up with these colors and then the options themselves. We got a big 43-inch smart TV right here. I've got it, it's on an arm, so it will extend out, because when we go to store this, it'll kind of tuck behind that slide out a little bit. But they wanted as big a TV as they possibly could on this wall. And again, Outlaw did a great job to make it, you know, user-friendly. You will have to actually store it, lock it into place before you run that slide out in. But as you can see, it tucks back behind there and it's out of the way. Up top here, this trailer is equipped with Starlink. So the smart TVs and the Starlink, I can attest, we've got Starlink at our house. You know, when we're streaming stuff, it's fantastic with the smart TVs. You know, everything's pretty much gone to apps nowadays anyway. I know, you know, some of even the satellite companies have gone to a streaming service. So that's where a lot of these smart TVs come into play. The Starlink, they'll be able to get where they need to, fire that guy up. They can work out of this trailer. They'll have really good internet service, but then have that ability there. Nice countertop here, just to set some items on. And then we're gonna have a fireplace. So it also works as, you know, right now I don't have any heat coming out of it. You know, maybe it's a little ambiance, something along those lines. But if you wanted another heat source, you can fire that guy up and they will put heat out. It is really fantastic. We get a lot of customers that have that fireplace and they love it. They said in the morning when you hop up, you don't necessarily have to, you know it's going to be warmer in the day. Instead of running a lot of heat and warming that trailer up, it's just enough to take that chill off and then turn it off, and then it'll warm up throughout the day. On this dinette, these are another cool features here. These pull-out drawers. These I love because I don't necessarily like the cabinet door on the front of these, because it's hard to access everything underneath these dinettes, you know, that are tucked way back there. So in these instances here, you can store some food. Maybe it's extra bedding, some pillows for these sleeping areas. Again, that's easy to access since it slides out rather than just a cabinet door itself. The other thing underneath that sofa sleeper is that's where the fresh water tank's going to store. So it's on that gooseneck drop wall that goes underneath that sofa. That's why there's not storage underneath as far as cabinet doors when we move these ottomans out, because of the actual water stored right there. But again, the ottomans are fantastic. You can kind of move them around, get them out of the way, put your feet up. And again, they tie in so well. It's not just like, hey, here's an ottoman that's brown, let's call it good. Nope, they custom build those as well. All right, kitchen area. You need some counter space and storage? This guy has it. So we have this nice heavy duty Corian countertop, kitchen sink with a cover as well for it. Nice big sink. You see a lot of times it'll be a little tiny one where maybe you can wash a bowl and that's about it, but not in this instance. But again, look at all the counter space that they're going to have. That's one thing that they wanted and they got it. Over here is going to be a 3-burner cooktop with the cover as well on it. Tile backsplash goes from the counter up. Again, really ties in well. They did a great job on these colors. You see the valances. Again, these are going to match the rest of them here. And again, it just kind of ties in with the rest of the color package themselves. 2 windows right here. So, you know, great access. It balanced out really well when we were building the trailer and looking at the drawings. We said, yep, that's what we're looking for. Overhead cabinets. Once again, absolutely ton of storage. Underneath these cabinets, there's going to be some lights, some outlets, so you can, you know, plug some items in. You can get some actual light, you know, directly above if you want. And then we have a convection microwave. So obviously they're a bigger footprint than the standard microwaves. Again, kind of when we get into smaller trailers, it kind of eats into our overhead cabinetry. Not in this instance at all. We do not have to worry about that. More overhead cabinets there. More and more and more storage. Okay, this trailer is equipped with 3 ACs. We have 2 here in the living quarters area. Everything's ducted as well, so we can really maintain a really nice, comfortable, you know, just temperature throughout it and make it consistent. That's where that ducting comes in. We have a 30K, you know, furnace. We've also got the electric fireplace for a heat source. But again, we can cycle all this through, you know, this ducting that'll, again, really make it, you know, really comfortable. A lot of times you'll see some manufacturers that they'll just have an AC unit just strictly right here. Well, how does that help us get, you know, air to the bathroom in this instance where we have it split off? What if we had, you know, access to the nose, you know, for another bed up there? Well, it's all from right here in a central location, so it's hard to keep that, you know, at a nice comfortable level, to where in this instance you have it because of all that ducting. You see the LED lights, the puck lights in the ceiling as well. They went with a little bit darker accent material up there as far as a soft touch wall, versus you kind of see it in the back side of the slide. They went a little bit lighter. I know we have so much shiplap and some tile on this guy, but there you can see that little bit lighter you know, soft touch material there. Before we make our way back, I'll come and show you here up at the front. You know, here's all our lights. You can see everything's really well labeled. Thermostat up there. On this back side over here, we're going to have our generator controls. We can turn it on or off. There's a second one in the back bedroom. Hydraulic slides. Operation of both slides from right here. Our awning and light itself right there. electric hot water heater, and then we have this check valve right here for our LP, so we can know if we have, you know, LP flowing into the coach or not. If we have an issue, if it, you know, if we have an issue, it'll kill it and make sure LP doesn't come in anymore. But this guy here is really important to know where it's at. A lot of times we'll tell a customer, hey, are we green light on that? They say, you know, we changed LP bottles, you know, for some reason we're not getting any LP into the coach. Furnace, you know, refrigerator, cooktop isn't working. Come and hit that guy and it'll tell us if we've got that flow of LP coming in. So it's really easy to operate, but that's an important one to kind of keep track of when we're coming in and out of the coach itself. On the lower side of the kitchen, there's our hot water heater, drain valves. It's got an access panel right here. So again, everything's labeled. The lines on the inside here are insulated as well. They put some insulation on them. This is a double insulation package on this trailer. Nice big pull-out drawer here. There's our manual from Outlaw. There's our fuse box, okay? So our fuse panel, if we need to access, you know, look at anything there, that's where it's located. And then we have 3 pull-out drawers here. So, you know, they can get some organization for some forks, you know, your typical silverware, a little bit deeper one, maybe some pans in there. Again, that's really hard to come up with a lot of times is these pull-out drawers. You're typically gonna get some cabinets, but in this instance, you've just based on the sheer size of this, I mean, we've got that flexibility to go ahead and put a lot of storage, especially these pull-out drawers. That's one thing that's always a little bit tricky to get in some of these kind of smaller LQs. Again, this instance, we don't have to worry about it. You see the ducting even down low. Furnace located here. So as you can see, it's feeding off of that and feeding the rest of the coach. So as you can see, a lot of the components that maybe we have to work on, they're really accessible. And again, labeled. So again, you know, if we get on the phone with Outlaw Service, which you have, Outlaw Service is available 24/7, 365. Now, obviously in emergency situations, they're gonna help you out as best they can in those type of scenarios. If it's something that can wait till the next morning, you know, they might say, okay, here, we'll get a game plan. We'll talk first thing in the morning. We'll get working on that. But you do have them available. And what's great is you, one thing it's important is to know the last 5-year VIN and the make of the trailer. Typically the year, make, and then the last 5, because you can call them, say, hey, I have a 25 Cimarron. Here's the last 5 of the VIN. Here's what I got going on. They can pull up all that information. They're gonna know, okay, go over to your kitchen area. Below that larger one is gonna be your fuse panel. So you can, you know, pop that guy open right there. So again, knowing where everything's at, they can walk you through a lot of stuff as well. They're available. I haven't even talked about anything warranty-wise. When you get into an Outlaw conversion, you have 3 years of warranty, okay? So if this microwave, if this TV, the generator, if in those type of instances, if it's a 1-year manufacturer warranty and Outlaw puts it on this trailer, they're gonna cover it for 3. Hardwood cabinetry, the craftsmanship, and they cover it for 5. On the Cimarron side of things, the trailer side, you have an 8-year structure warranty, 3-year hardware warranty. You also have a 1-year warranty on your tires through Continental. But in this instance, when we combine a Cimarron and an Outlaw conversion, they're the only one in our industry, which is typically the horse and livestock industry. But again, we build a lot of these trailers too for other horsepower. But in this instance, they're the only ones out there that between the manufacturer and the conversion company, 3-year warranty. So that says something about the quality and them standing behind the product as well. Now, we're gonna work our way into the bathroom, okay? First and foremost, we're gonna have a pocket door. So the pocket door is nice because we don't have a door that has to swing either way and we have to work around it. Locks into the floor so it's nice and secure. Okay, so this is that mid bath. First thing we're gonna have is we're gonna have a Tecma toilet. That is a power toilet right there. We've got some cabinets and storage back here. As you can see, access panel that we can get behind that toilet if we need to. But they did that hardwood, or excuse me, not hardwood, the Corian you know, as far as a countertop, and they did one behind the toilet themselves. That was something specifically that they wanted, and again, Outlaw can accommodate. Tile backsplash, again, from counter up. Bathroom sink with also a medicine cabinet back behind it. Great lighting. I mean, as you can see, LED lights up top, lights on the bottom side, and even light underneath here. And again, more storage. It's kind of the theme of this trailer. Storage underneath. Typically you'll see like water pumps, those type of items get put underneath here that take up, and you don't really have a lot of usable space. Not to say there's a ton. You'll see this box right there. Well, that box is actually our wheel well, and I'll show you when we get to the bedroom here, but that's where the front of that wheel well actually comes to. Shower, hardwood surface on the wall. We have a max air fan up top there, so we can create a lot of ventilation through here. We can pull air in, we can pull air out, which is really nice in these scenarios. Maybe you need that exhaust, but then also maybe you want to bring some fresh air in. And again, with the height of this trailer and that skylight, I mean, there is a ton of headroom in that shower itself. Not a big step either. That was one thing they were trying to, we were trying to accomplish for them. It actually has to be elevated up a little bit because we're going to have an actual P-trap underneath there. Again, some manufacturers won't do those type of items. This is an RVI certified coach. That's what Outlaw does on every one of their trailers. So it's got a certification on every single one of them. You can go plug into, campgrounds, national parks, those type of items. You meet all their criteria for electric, plumbing, as far as safety, all those type of items. And RVI also advocates for us to, keep these type of recreational vehicles on the road, and we can go out and enjoy where we want to go. Once again, storage. So these are adjustable shelves in here, so they can move these up and down if they need to. Maybe it's some hand towels in some areas, big towels in another. They can move them up and down if they want. It's also got central vac, so really easy to actually go ahead and clean the trailer up because you've got that built into it. And then as we come into the bedroom, one more pocket door, as you can see here. So again, we don't necessarily have to work around these. This one here is going to have the mirror on it. That front one doesn't. It was just, hey, why double up on mirrors when we've got one? There's plenty of bathroom space in this trailer, easily to get around. That's one thing about it is you're really not tripping over each other. Somebody can be standing here and you can get through the other side of the coach very, very easily. And then we come into the back bedroom. They just didn't want to crawl up into the nose. So here we go. We did a slide out over the actual wheel wells themselves. We had, had to have some extra bracing in order to do this. I'll show you from the outside here in a minute. But as you can see, I mean, this is fantastic. And again, just storage and storage and storage for days. So they've got kind of end tables on each end. There's outlets so they can plug phones in, reading lights up on the top of the ceiling, more of those puck lights. Pay attention to the valances in here. As you can see on all these valances, they went ahead and they did a little track lighting on those too. So you can turn off a lot of light and just either, maybe stick with, your lower courtesy lights, and then you also have those up there. I think it really worked well. I know we were all kind of going back and forth on the fence about that, and they opted to do it, and I thought it turned out great in this type of instance here. On the ends of each, end of the bed, there's more storage here, so we can stack some items there. There's actually the switches for lights in the slide out, and then an additional generator control there as well, so we can fire up that gen, from right here in bed. We don't have to go up to the front, so like in the morning or night, you can just turn it off, or fire it up if need be, if you're not plugged into power. Now on this bed, this is a queen size bed, but they did a fantastic job. Once again, where can we put storage? Okay, so we have a little step to make it pretty easy getting access in and out of bed. But hey, let's go ahead and put a lid on it, make it a little bit more, a little bit more storage. See this guy here? There's also cabinet doors on the end. So we've got storage underneath the bed to a point, because again, This slide out is going to go over the wheel wells, so we've got some extra bracing and framing underneath there. But again, this guy slides in, comes right into this area. That's why the center area is kind of tucked versus these cabinets on the end here, because again, we have to allow spacing for that slide out to come in. But it is, again, one of those big hydraulic slides. On both of these cabinets, I'll show you, there's 2 closed bars in here, an automatic light when you open it up. So, you know, you can hang clothes in there, but you can still see. So every once in a while you need your hanging clothes, and then you've got some actual closets for each one of those. Same thing, it's going to have bar and a bar there, and you can see that lower box maybe a little bit right there. Again, that's wheel well. So when we get into over here by the TV, more storage, there's a nice lip they put on this one here so it'll hold items, but underneath there is going to be the wheel wells for this trailer. So that's where that's going to live, and that's why it's elevated, not more storage underneath there. 50-inch TV back here. We just had a bigger wall, so we could put a bigger TV for them. Like I said, they wanted a big TV, as big as they could in each spot. This one's a 50. Once again, smart TV. Storage up above it. That shiplap back behind there, again, tied in really, really well with this whole setup. We've got the ducting in here. That third AC, forgot to point out, it is actually going to be located right here in the bathroom. So again, it can feed, you know, into the bathroom area and then duct back here. We've got some speakers back here as well, up in the ceiling, you know, with that actual ducting, and then the puck lights in here. So again, just keeping this trailer nice and cool and comfortable. All right, we'll make our way because we have a pass-through door that's going to go into the garage. The garage is a 6 foot. So like I mentioned, 37 foot on the floor, 31 foot of living space on a straight wall. So this area back here is 6 foot, full width of the trailer. As you can see, a man door that goes in over here on curbside. But as you can see, we've got some cargo airliner track here on the floor. This gray rubber flooring, it's going to hold up extremely well. This stuff is really durable. Instead of just doing bare aluminum or like a rubber mat that you know has the potential where it's not sealed and things can get underneath it, this rubber mat here has good traction but is extremely durable. It's cut for the floor specifically, sealed at the edges after it's glued down. So again, it's going to hold up extremely well. If you pay attention at high traffic areas, go to airports, you know, go to sporting events. I mean, I've noticed it in our just stairs going up to our lunchroom. It's this style of floor that's on those. So again, real high traffic areas, that holds up extremely well. But they can actually pull into, you know, a smaller bike. They can bring in here, they can get some tie downs, strap it down. It's airliner track that you can get a lot of different components right off of Amazon, whether it's hooks, you know, to actual like rings that you want to tie, you know, strap something down. Maybe you want to put some hooks up here on this one. That way they can maybe hang clothes, they can hang their cord, just other items that they need to travel with. You've got some of that storage in here. This is also line and insulated back here. So it's got the line and insulate package from Cimarron, did that part of it back here in this area. This is our fuel cell right here. I'll show you the fill when we get to the other side of the trailer, but that's where that's tucked in here. But what a great, you know, smaller garage on this. They wanted a lot of LQ, they got it. And some adequate storage back here. A couple LED lights, one above each door. So we have plenty of light coverage, especially with these white walls. You know, those LED lights, those Optibright lights, it bounces off the wall, really brightens this up extremely well. We went ahead and put a window on there. Maybe you just need to, you know, air it out a little bit more. You've got that. Obviously we came through that pass-through door, so that pass-through door is access into the bedroom right here from the garage. And we also put an outlet back here for them. Just maybe they need to plug something in, charge something up. They've got that capability. And as we come out, we've got, again, the man door. It's got a window in it as well. Fold up step, because of the width of the trailer, we don't have any running boards. So just like on the LQ door, you've got a step to make it really easy to access and go in. Here's an exterior look of that slide out, okay? Again, it's one of those hydraulic slide outs. Again, it goes directly over those wheels, as you can see. So what they had to do for the bracing and framing underneath there, they did a great job. You've got an awning that goes over the top, the frameless window on this, you know, exterior side of it. On the ends, there's windows. Those are going to be your framed windows, just because of how those frameless windows kind of protrude off the trailer, and that slide going in and out have to have that capability to where we're not, you know, doing damage there. Axles, okay, there are 3 8,000-pound axles underneath there. Again, electric over hydraulic disc brakes. This trailer is equipped with air ride suspension, an SRW mod 17.5-inch wheel with Continental 18-ply tires. So really, really good running gear underneath here. This trailer, again, is equipped with air ride. This is a bigger trailer, but this trailer is going to pull phenomenally well because it's a triple axle and also air ride. We're big believers in air ride when it comes to our horse and livestock trailers. We've got videos, we've got customers that we can talk till we're blue in the face and show you how well these trailers ride when we have air ride suspension. It is an upgrade, but boy, I tell you what, just the overall ride of the trailer, especially when we get in these bigger ones, and when, again, reverting back to, you know, the horse and livestock side of it, we've got some animals on there we want to take care of. We want our product to hold up as well. Let's put it on air ride suspension. You know, go look at all the commercial, you know, semis on the road. Everything's got air ride. You know, why not convert over here on this side of the business as well? One thing we will do is with this trailer is we're going to put an air dump on there, because that's the one knock about a triple, is it pulls phenomenally well, but it's really hard to turn, especially asphalt when it's hot, right? Everything wants to dig in. If you pull the triple and turn them really tight and you look back and you see all the wheels and tires, everything's going different directions. They're all fighting each other. So it puts more stress on the axles, the hubs, the tires, everything. So what we are going to do is this trailer, this is something exclusive that Transwest does, but we're going to put an air dump on the front axle. Okay, what that will do is you'll be able to sit in the cab of the truck, you'll hit a fob, it'll pull air from this front axle, push it to the back. It won't physically pick this front axle up off the ground, but it'll take the weight off of it so it skates. So now we've actually turned it into a tandem when we go to turn in these type of really tight scenarios. Backing into tight places, you hit the fob, it turns it off, puts air back to it, and you can go down the road. So we've done some videos on those setups we can send to you as well, but this trailer will get equipped with that. Hasn't got through our chassis shop just yet. This trailer will get aligned. These bigger air ride trailers, anything over 26 foot on the floor, especially with air ride, will get an alignment done on it. So we'll bring it in, have a picture of what it looked like when it got here, and then once we're done with it. Dexter, this is an Airflex Dexter system. Dexter reps have been here. Easiest way I can explain it to you is this is their standard, this is ours. Ours are tighter. So we're gonna make sure this trailer's running true and straight down the road, which is gonna allow for tires to hold up a lot better over time. And then this guy's got it with those nice big heavy Continental tires there. Okay, so storage up top. This is an integrated pod, or an integrated roof is what we call it. So as you can see, that top rail breaks up and goes up at an angle, and then we've got some stuff going on at the back. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to show you. So we have some storage. So there's a lid that lifts up, and then back behind it is going to be our diesel 12K Onan generator up there. So this thing's got a lot of components on it that we need to power up, and we've got it with that nice big, you know, quiet Onan 12 diesel generator up top there. But that's that box you see at the back. Ton of button lights on that top rail. It really dresses this trailer up. You see we've got a 16-inch awning light going into this man door as we go into the garage there. But what happens with that integrated roof line is it breaks and it actually drops the ceiling a little bit. So we go from 8'4" tall in this front section of the trailer to where this, from that point back, it's 7'9", the way that it breaks down and the way they have to construct that back of it. But we still have a ton of headspace and a ton of storage in that. And unless I pointed it out, you probably wouldn't even notice it when walking through the trailer, or even looking at this video. At the back here, again, that's a garage, so this is nice, it's solid. We wrapped the extrusion around the back. Instead of it just being one white sheet, that extrusion is 27 inches on that lower all the way around the trailer, so we wrapped it around the back. I think it tied it in really, really well. Got a 16-inch awning light back here for you, so you've got the light back there. And then on our back tail lights, there's a white X. That is a built-in backup light itself. So when you throw, you know, the tow vehicle in reverse, those guys will actually illuminate. So, you know, our backup lights on our truck are worthless on this size of a trailer. You're gonna get home late, you're gonna get into unfamiliar places in the dark. It's nice to have light. I've never heard a customer complain about having too much light or these type of options on their trailer themselves. So as you can see, the box up there for the generator, and we have a gate that goes across. That's a safety gate. It unpins, swings out of the way if we need to. And then we have to get up there to that roof. Well, this is an easy angle ladder. So instead of a bolt-on ladder, they have to go straight up the side of the trailer. This one extends out and away. So they're gonna use it for storage up there, right? You gotta pack items up there. So you're gonna have something in your hand. So bolt-on, it's almost impossible to get up the side of it when you're carrying something, to where this is a totally different scenario. In fact, I'm gonna take the camera and I'm gonna take you up there and show you what we got going on up top there. So again, easy angle ladder. Once we get up to the top here, as you can see, we've got this deck. And then again, there's your safety gate that will swing out of the way for the gen itself. We have one of those LED lights up there. Some grab handles here for you for safety. Another one up top. So when we need to get up to the top here, it's really simple. So we've got this nice big box. This generator's actually been running throughout the video, so bear with me here. I'm gonna lift this lid up and show you that big diesel gen up here. And then I'm going to show you the actual storage area for the pod itself. So now we have all this that you saw from the side in that lid. It's all weather sealed. It's got gas shocks that help it open up. We haven't talked really about the construction on the Cimarron side. This roof and even this material here on this pod lid is insulated. That's how they build every single one of these Cimarrons. They all have an insulated roof on top. It's got an R3 thermal value, gel coating. It's a 1/2 inch thick, so it's reinforced. As you can see, it's white, so it's not going to, you know, conduct heat. It'll reflect it really well, but it'll keep the trailer itself 20% cooler by having that. The other thing it does is it'll take substantial hail, so it'll protect your investment. You know, it'll take really big hail. It's not going to ding it up like we would on aluminum sheeted roofs. You've got this walk-through access as well. So when they go to store items in here, it'll be really easy for them to just step into this area, throw what they need to. Again, ton of storage. There's even, you even have the capability to do some storage here on the deck if you wanted to. You do some tie rings, do some more of that airliner track so you could secure even more items there. Inside here is going to be the battery for the generator itself, and you're going to get an additional RedArc charger specifically for this battery for the generator. So when that guy's fired up and running, you're going to have that RedArc charger charging that battery. Up here on the roof, you're going to see it's got a solar panel charger. There's those 3 ACs. The Starlink is right behind that solar panel there. But again, that insulated roof really makes a difference on temperature control of these trailers themselves. The Cimarron is all aluminum construction. So again, all aluminum trailer. In the horse trailer world of things, they have the industry's best floor. It's an extruded deck piece. It's 12 inches. It locks in high and low like tongue and groove. But they're 4-inch centers that go across. So it's a deck with a V-truss in the middle. They had the best floor in the market up to about 2017, and they improved it. So they didn't want anybody to pass them, so they put that V-truss in the middle. It made the shear force strength about 60% stronger than the previous with 4-inch centers. So it's like building a house, right? This is a house on wheels. This is a custom house on wheels. We need a strong foundation, and that's what you have when you have a Cimarron. Underneath is going to be a skid plate and bogey wheels. Just because there is, you know, that 6-foot garage, we got a little bit of length behind the axles themselves. So in instances where it's maybe a dip, we don't want to drag the trailer and do damage to the back. It's got those bogey wheels and that skid plate. So it's going to help that trailer transition and move out of it without doing any damage there. Fuel fill for the diesel generator. Again, I showed you on the back side of this wall is going to be that actual fuel tank. And right here's our fill. So he'll be able to fuel up his truck. And shoot, he might even catch it right where he's at the pumps, where there's a pump up there and a pump back here, and he can go ahead and fuel it up with diesel. Couple more lights on the outside. There's 3 of them on this side, these 16-inch awnings. The switches are all right back here, so we can turn on individual. The sides, the interior, the back, all of them from right in here. So really nice to have access to be able to turn those guys on. And then going into the garage is a 48-inch wide ramp. It's got good height on it, so it extends out. Now this trailer is aired up. So when it's aired up, it picks it up about 2.5 inches. When you park it, you're just working out of it, you know, staying out of the trailer itself. You drop that air because it'll drop the box of the trailer down to making this, you know, angle not as steep because we've lowered it. Also, just stepping in and out of the trailer, when it's lower like that, it makes the transition so nice going in and out of it. But again, it's really easy to lift up and close it. It springs, so it wants to suck into the trailer when it gets to a certain point. Nice thing about this is the LQ door, this ramp, that man door, everything is one key. So everything is one key, really easy to operate, lock it up, open it up if need be. But as you can see, that ramp is really easy to operate. We even did the extrusion on the side of it. We wanted it to look, you know, nice and clean, and it has that capability. So again, that triple axle will get that air dump put on that guy. But again, you know, awesome running gear underneath this trailer itself with that, especially that air ride suspension on it. Back here, we're gonna have our dump tanks. So black tank, sewage, and gray tank. So anything goes toilet will go there. All your others, your shower, your sinks, will go here to your gray tank, and then a city water connection as well. So when we actually have access to go ahead and put city connection on this with their water, we're gonna bypass our holding tank, our fresh tank on this guy. So we're gonna utilize their water rather than our holding tank if we can actually connect to water there. Here's a back look at that big slide out that had our dinette, our refrigerator, and a ton of storage, right? Frameless window. Again, on the ends, you're gonna have the framed windows there, but you see your vents for your refrigerator. And then I told you, we had that access, that box on the back side of that cabinet. Here's exterior access to a 20-pound tank that's specifically just gonna be for that refrigerator. It can lock up, it's got the louvered, you know, it's Cimarron's doors. I mean, it's amazing once you stop and kind of look at some of this stuff on these trailers. Like, look at these welds. I mean, those are phenomenal. You look at this welded hinge on these doors. You're gonna have welded hinges with grease zerks, so they're easier for you to maintain. If something gets a little stiff, starts squawking at you like a goose, you can put some grease to it, open and close it, and it'll feed it throughout. The reason why is there's this brass ring right here. Well, it's connected to a rod that goes the full length of these, and it's got a swirl or a groove cut into it. So imagine a swirl like a candy cane. So when you open and close this, it's wanting to feed that grease throughout that entire hinge. But again, if you just stop and look at the craftsmanship on how they put these trailers together on both sides, Cimarron and Outlaw, I mean, they do a phenomenal job on these trailers. 50 amp plug for our cord, and then there's our freshwater fill right here from on the outside of the trailer. Now, I showed you that we had that solid wall on the inside there. And the reason why is they wanted storage. Again, they wanted that back bedroom, so they wanted storage up in the neck. So what we did was we put a wall down the middle of that gooseneck. So again, you have doors that access each side, and you don't necessarily have to worry about something going to the other side of the trailer, shifting, if anything like that. Having that wall in there is going to kind of keep things a little bit more separated, a little bit more secure. There's an LED light on the inside there. On each side, so you have that light in there as well, but you have these nice big doors to access, you know, either side of the trailer itself. Same thing, exact same keys, welded hinges with grease zerks, these big massive frame doors that Cimarron builds. You know, like I was talking about on the cabinets on the inside, you grab a hold of them and you feel the mass to them. These are items that are going to hold up for you. You know, we need these doors and all these cabinets and everything to hold up over time. You know, this is a really high quality trailer, and they didn't skip anywhere. So I hope I didn't miss much for you on this guy. Again, this has so many options, so many cool features. It was fantastic working with this couple on this trailer. It was a really enjoyable process. Everybody from Cimarron and Outlaw, a big shout out to those guys. They knocked it out of the park on this guy, and they were great to work with as always. So if you're interested in something like this, obviously we can custom build you one to your likings. We can set it up however you want. Our sales team can help you out with that. We do take trade-ins. You can take, you know, downsize, upgrading. If you have a motor home you want to trade in, if you need a hauler for something like this, you need a new you know, just pickup truck to pull one of these guys, we can help you out. We can point you in directions throughout the entire Transwest company. So financing's available and delivery, so we could potentially bring these to your door. So give us a call. Anybody on the sales team can help you out. That number is 303-684-3400. We appreciate you tuning in. Have a good day.